Hi and welcome to Loop the Loop English channel. Today's English story is about a sunny day, a beautiful city, and me getting completely lost. Not once, but twice. Yes, it was a day full of walking, surprises, and meeting nice strangers. And while you listen, you will hear plenty of handy English words and phrases that you can use when you travel. Part 1. Arrival in Barcelona. I traveled to Barcelona last summer. It was my first visit to Spain. I had seen pictures on the internet, the multicolored buildings, the beaches, the famous Sagrada Familia church, and I was eager to see everything. When I arrived, I immediately fell in love with the city. The air was scented like the sea, mixed with the warm aroma of freshly baked bread. On the streets, I heard a babble of languages: Spanish, Catalan, English, French. Some were walking quickly, on their way to work. Others were sitting outside cafes, drinking coffee and eating croissants. Street musicians were playing guitars, and their music filled the air. My hotel was in a narrow street with tall buildings. I could look down at a small bakery from my window. Every morning, the smell of fresh bread and pastry came into my room. Part 2. The first walk. Weaning on the second day, I woke up early. The sun was shining, the sky was a brilliant blue, and I was in high spirits. I said to myself, today, I will find out. I will walk and see where the streets take me. First, I had a plan to visit the Sagrada Familia. But in walking, I saw a small side street with flags of many colors and flowers. It looked so pretty that I changed my plan. One fast look, I thought. Only a few minutes. One street became two became five. I passed by cafes, small markets, small shops selling souvenirs and jewelry. I heard children laughing and playing football in the street. Part 3. The first problem. 2 hours later, I had a sudden realization. I had no idea where I was. I took out my phone, no internet. I opened up my paper map. It was in Spanish, and the streets had long, difficult to read names. But I told myself, that's all right. I'll just walk back the same way I came. But when I turned around, everything looked different. The streets were like a puzzle. Every building had balconies with flowers. Every corner had a small cafe or shop. I started to worry. What if I can't find my hotel? I thought. Part 4. Asking for help. I decided to ask someone for help. I saw an old man sitting on a bench in the shade. I went over to him and said, "Hello, excuse me, can you help me?" He looked up and smiled. I said, "Hotel Mar Azul. Do you know where it is?" He nodded and said something quickly in Spanish. I understood only one word, calle, which means street. He pointed in one direction, speaking quickly. I smiled, nodded, and said, "Gracias." I went the way he pointed. In a few minutes, I was still lost. Part 5. Meeting Lucia. Then I saw a young woman walking a small white dog. I said, "Hello, I'm lost. Can you please help me find Hotel Mar Azul?" She smiled nicely. Of course, I speak English. I was so happy then, as if I had found water in the desert. We started walking together. Her name was Lucia. She was a Barcelona native. As we walked, she would indicate things along the way. That cafe serves the best churros. That market has the sweetest oranges. That shop sells handmade fans, perfect for summer. She even gave some advice. If you're going to get real Spanish food, don't eat at those big restaurants near the tourist spots. Eat at the smaller places where the locals eat. Finally, we arrived at my hotel. I thanked her profusely. She smiled and said, "You weren't lost at all. You were exploring." Part 6. A bad idea. It was still early afternoon, and I was not tired. So after resting and having some water, I went out again. This time, I told myself, I will be careful. I will not get lost again. I walked in a different direction. I walked to a busy square full of people, musicians, and small food stalls. The smell of grilled meat and fresh bread made me hungry. I bought a small sandwich and sat on a bench to eat. A man sitting beside me smiled and said something in Spanish. I didn't understand, but I smiled back. Part 7. Lost again. After lunch, I decided I wanted to go to the beach. I walked, but I didn't look at my map very well. Soon the streets became quieter, and I thought, yes, I was lost again. I felt more relaxed this time. Maybe I can find something interesting, I said to myself. I passed the front of a small art gallery, a bookstore, and a shop with nice ceramic plates in many colors. I even found a tiny park with a fountain and birds singing in the trees. Part 8. The Funny Misunderstanding. I saw a man sweeping the street and said, "Hello, can you help me, please? I'm looking for the beach." He nodded and started speaking in Spanish. I picked out the word derecha, which means right, and dos calles, 2 streets. I went in the direction he said but found myself standing in front of a pet shop. Inside, there was a parrot sitting in a big cage. When I looked at it, it said in Spanish, "Hola." Hola. I couldn't help laughing. Even the parrot was speaking to me in Spanish. Part 9. Finally finding the beach. I finally reached the beach. The ocean was shining in the late afternoon sun. People were swimming, playing volleyball, and sunbathing on towels. I took off my shoes and walked on the sand. The water was cold but refreshing. I stayed there until the sun set. The sky turned orange and pink, and the lights of the city started to sparkle. Part 10. The lesson. By the time I finally returned to my hotel, I was tired but satisfied. I was lost twice that day, but I also stumbled upon streets I would never have otherwise seen, people I would never have otherwise met, and places I will never forget. I came to understand that sometimes being lost is not a problem. It's an opportunity to discover new things. So the next time you're abroad, don't hesitate to walk without a purpose. You never know what you'll find. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who loves travel stories. See you in the next video.